Hello, my name is Rob Stevenson. I'm with Keap CEO and co-founder Clate Mask. Welcome, Clate.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Great to
we
be
are
with you.
here to talk about the 2020 Small Business Marketing Trends Report. So I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
I think we all do. I have a funny question for
Yeah.
you. Keap's in its infancy was a small company at one point.
Sure.
And so as a former small business owner yourself, what's a good piece of advice that you would give a small business owner today?
Yes, well, obviously the reason we do what we do is because we started as small business owners. We know what that is, we know what it's like, and that's where our passion and purpose come from. So, the advice that I would give to them today, is that the big thing you want to know?
I think so. I think a lot of people will be interested because, as a small business owner myself, I have delusions of grandeur about going from, a small company to, a big company.
Yeah.
So
here's what I'd say. The thing that I see over and over and over with business owners is they allow the marketing time. The marketing time and budget comes at the very end of their list, or at least late in their list. And so there's not much time to work on their marketing. There's not much time to invest, or there's not much money to invest in their marketing because it comes at the end. So, I'll tell you a funny story. When I first started working with my co-founders, my job was to do everything except write software, and their job was to do nothing but write software. And I was going through the books one day, and I was like, hey, I was going through the payroll part, and there was Clate and Scott and Eric and Mark, and I'm like, who the heck's Mark? I don't know who this is. And I walked into them and I was like, guys, in the labor section it says Mark. Who is it? They're like, oh, that's our marketing budget, and we always make sure we pay the marketing budget. And it was a really interesting lesson for this the business guy who. The software writers taught me something invaluable that day. And I've just found that I've seen over and over with customers, small businesses, that if you'll allocate some money for marketing and some time, more importantly, for marketing, then you'll grow.
How does a small business owner prioritize that then? Because you're a small business owner from 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or 9 to 7. You're doing what makes you great.
Or 12 to 12.
You're doing what makes you great.
Yeah.
That's your small business.
Yeah.
When do you collectively sit down on the couch, put the kids to bed, you've had dinner, and you're like, okay, now let's talk marketing.
Yeah.
How do you wrap your head around that?
Well, that's the challenge. The biggest challenge that business owners face generally, not just in their market, the biggest challenge is, how do I find the time to do everything I need to do? That is the challenge for every business owner. And so that's why it's so important that you be intentional about it and say, okay, I know I feel like I have no time to work on marketing, but I'm going to put 1 hour on the calendar on Wednesday, or 2 hours on Friday to work on it. And what will happen as I watch this with our customers over the years, what happens is they put a little time there, and then they start to go, oh, maybe I should put a little more time. If you don't put it on the calendar, you won't do it. And so, but if you put it on the calendar and you make that a priority, you stick to it. And by the way, there are all kinds of tricks of how you stick to it. You get off site. You get disconnected from your technology.
Exactly, yeah.
You get yourself into a frame of mind where you are working on your marketing.
Put your phone down.
That's right. Get away from the technology, get away from all the distractions, get away from everything, and then you work on marketing. And what I've watched is when business owners do that, they gradually increase the amount of time they spend on their marketing.
So are there specific metrics that a small business owner should be looking at from a marketing perspective? Is it dollars spent? Is it leads generated? Is it closed won business? How do you figure out what the right way to do that is?
Yeah, it starts really simply. You have some amount some dollars that you allocate to marketing. And that might sound really basic, but the reality is most business owners don't do that. They rely on word of mouth. They say, I get referrals, that's how I grow my business. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, that's a great way to grow your business. But a lot of times business owners are kind of pulling the wool over their own eyes. And they want to grow and they want things to happen, but they're not willing to put their money where their mouth is when it comes to having some budget for marketing. So what I always recommend to people is start super small. You might have $5,000 of expenses across your entire business for the entire month, including your pay. Take $100 do something small. Do something that gets you into the habit of investing in marketing. It's a great investment when you put time and money behind it, and you can start small and gradually grow it. Just like you put time on the calendar, take a little bit of money, small amount, and put it into a marketing budget and use that. And why? Because you'll learn. You'll learn what works. You'll start to get an appetite to spend on things that are successful. So the very first metric is how much money you're spending on what's your marketing budget. The second metric would be how many leads are you getting out of that? What are you producing with that marketing budget? And then of course you want to track that to how many customers came from those leads. But quite simply, dollars spent, leads acquired, and then cost per lead. That's the beginnings of the marketing measures.
I love that. I want to dig into that a little bit more. You talked about word of mouth.
Yeah.
Keap's 2020 Small Business Marketing Trends Report says that in 2020, which kind of 2020 feels like hindsight, but we're looking forward here. Right. In 2020, 46% of small business owners say that word of mouth is still their number one marketing tool.
Absolutely. Doesn't surprise me a bit.
How do you help marketers take that next step and bridge the gap from word of mouth into technology? Or how do you bring word of mouth into a technological world?
Well, the reality is most small businesses aren't marketers and don't want to be marketers. Like if we're just honest, I know this is a marketing trends report, but the reality is most small businesses, they don't want to be marketers. They want to deliver a great product or service that their customers love so much that they refer to their friends, and the business owner grows their business because they get to serve more customers because they did a great job. Yeah. And so they want to grow by word of mouth. It's very fulfilling. Most business owners would much rather grow their business by getting a referral from an existing customer than to find a brand new customer they didn't know, because it's an endorsement. It says, hey, the customer that referred me really likes what I offer, or the customer that referred really likes what I offer as a business owner. So it doesn't surprise me a bit that people expect to grow by referrals, in part because they don't come to the business usually as a marketer, and in part because it brings such satisfaction to the referral that they get, through the referral that they get. But also and this is the part that we got to be careful on. And I love entrepreneurs, I love small business owners, but sometimes I hear, I grow by referrals. And it's kind of an excuse for I'm not really doing some of the things that I probably should be doing as a marketer. So as long as they say I grow by referrals and that they truly have a strategy around that, they have a method behind it, great. But if it's kind of all the customers I ever get come from referrals and I don't really know when my next one's coming or how it's going to happen, that's not a very comforting place to be as a business owner. No. Yeah, and it's certainly not scalable.
So I mean, it's referrals and. If we're going to build a marketing plan for a small business, it's referrals and. And then the and it's so dependent on each individual business.
Yeah.
Okay. The Keap's 2020 Small Business Marketing Trends Report says that 50% of small businesses are happy with their marketing, which is, I'm ecstatic. Yeah. As a small business owner myself, I'm thrilled with that. I'm very happy with the marketing that we're doing. What do you say to the other 50%?
Well, what I would say is about 100 years ago, one of the greatest marketers, a guy named David Ogilvy, said, you know what, I know that 50% of my marketing works and 50% doesn't, I just don't know which is which. So it shouldn't surprise us that business owners feel that same way, that 50% of business owners feel like it's working, 50% feel like it's not working. The reality is that Ogilvy was right. Of all the stuff we do, some of it works well and some of it doesn't work so well. This goes back to the point why I said you've got to have some marketing budget. You're certainly not, go back to our simple example of $100. You're not going to knock it out of the park with each dollar of those $100 that you spend. But you might get on $50 of what you do, something might work out. And as you grow your budget, you're going to have some that works and some that doesn't work. So I know that's a frustrating thing for business owners, and people tell me all the time, gosh, in this day and age, can't we get better tracking, better understanding of what works? And to a certain extent, you can. But for all of our digital advancements, the reality is there's still a lot of, I don't know what to attribute this to. I don't know where, I don't know why this works. So what I would say to those two business owners that are in front of me, one who says, hey, my marketing is working, one who says, mine's not, I would say next month it might be different. You guys might swap places. So keep at it.
Sure. I like that perspective. It's the bird in the hand versus two in the bush sort of perspective.
Yeah.
You're not going to get those two in the bush if you're not willing to make that investment in yourself and
Yeah.
getting out there and building on it. So
And learning. I mean, the whole point of doing marketing is you learn. You
Yeah.
learn and adjust. You
Yeah.
learn, you get better. And you don't have to be this world-class marketer to grow your business. You just have to be willing to work at it, to try, learn. And so I'm under no delusions that all small businesses want to be marketers, as I said. I know that most don't. They just want to
Yeah.
serve their customers. But a good business owner is going to serve their customer, learn. They're going to spend a little bit of money to acquire more customers and learn from that and adjust and get better.
yeah, and I think it's maximizing the time and the resources that you spend on everything. And
Yeah.
it's what made you great as a small business. It's what gave you the courage to stand up and say, I'm going to do this. I'm
Right.
going to go into business for myself. And there's very few that I've seen that small business owners are like, and by the way, I'm an expert at marketing, so this will be easy. I
Yes.
mean, no small business owner
right.
ever has said,
Right.
this is going to be easy.
Right.
So I
Right.
like that. So as we look to 2020, there's dozens, hundreds, I'd even say, of marketing tactics and tips and techniques and tricks. What are a couple that you think that small business owners should be focusing on for 2020?
When I think about 2020, it would be easy for us to talk about all the tech advancements
Yeah.
and those types of things. But I actually think if I were sitting here talking to a good friend who was saying, "Man, I'm nervous about next year," or maybe not, maybe they're saying, "You know what? I'm excited about next year. I've got some things that I want to do to invest in my marketing." In either case, what I would tell them is, I believe your best approach in 2020 is to strengthen the relationships with your existing customers. And I share that for a couple of reasons. Number one, there's an age-old truism that says the best profitable way to grow your business is by working with existing customers. And that's absolutely true. But there's a second reason why I say it for 2020, and that is that I believe that the combination of two significant trends require that business owners focus more on customers. The first trend is a bull market that we've been in for a long time.
A long time.
And that's not always going to play out. And
No,
so
it's not.
when bear markets come, those who have great customer relationships benefit. And those who have not built great customer relationships suffer. And so I'm not predicting doom and gloom, but I am noting the fact that we've been in a very strong economic market here in the US, but in many parts of the world for quite some time. And so the wise business owner would recognize that trend and make some adjustments around that. The second trend, when you think about the noise that is happening in the world, more than ever, people want a connection and a personal relationship with the people they do business with. And the whole premise of being in small business versus being in a big business is that you can make it personal. You can make it, you can create great connection. So do that with your customers, right? Recognize the fact that the best dollars to spend in 2020 will be with your customers because of the economic trends, because of the social trend and the need to have that personal connection, and the fact that you can do it as a small business owner. You can create that connection. So that's a long way of saying what I would recommend you do is spend your time and money to build greater relationships with your customers.
I like that because it touches on the whole concept of a brand ambassador, someone who has come to your small business and partaken and loves the business, loves the offering, loves what we have built, and loves to be part of that community. It's strengthening that community, building a community of like-minded people. And I really like the idea of talking to your current customers and figuring
Absolutely.
out, what did we do as a small business that delighted you? Why did you come? Interviewing your customers, they're a fountain of information relative to what you're trying to accomplish, and taking their feedback and then building something from a marketing perspective that helps you find similar customers.
Yeah. Let me say what you just said, and let me take what you just said and add it to my answer about serving customers. I think that in order to really get into the advice that I would give about focusing on customers instead of turning a lead into a customer, the reason I say that is that the job is not to get a customer. The job is to create an advocate, a raving fan, a brand ambassador, whatever you want to call
super
it.
fan.
That's the job.
Yeah.
And the reason why that's the job is not only because it brings great satisfaction to the business owner. And it does. I mean, it lights us up. That's the reason we do what we do. And it feels very personal when we get to do that. It's also the fact that when you have an advocate, a brand ambassador, a raving fan, whatever we want to call that person, that what happens is they do repeat business with you, they refer people to you, they provide reviews for you. They do so much to help you grow your business, and they also do it in the most profitable way, because you're not out paying and spending a bunch of money to get new unwashed leads that you turn into customers. You've got someone you have a relationship who becomes a raving fan and helps you to get repeat business and to get referrals. That's where profit comes in a business. So yeah, the point, so that's why it doesn't surprise me a bit that customers or small businesses say, hey, I grow by referrals, because that's what we all want. We all want that. And it feels so great, but it's also because it becomes very efficient to grow that way. There's a lot of profit in that.
Clate, I love talking to you. I love listening to you. You are just an absolute fountain of information and wisdom. As a fellow,
I think you're just saying I'm old.
As a small business owner myself, I appreciate the chance to chat very much. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Great talking with you, Rob, and hopefully this has been useful to business owners that are looking at what to do in 2020 to grow their business.
Absolutely. The Keap's 2020 Small Business Marketing Trends Report is available on our website at keap.com. Thank you so much for listening and joining us today.
All right.
Well done.
Good stuff.
I was going to stop.